All right, all right, all right. We are about to get started. So, share this out, comment, let me know you're here, do all the things. Hello, hello, hello. You caught me right in the middle of sharing this live. So, I'm sharing it out, and I would love for you to do the same. All right, let me jump over here into the comments. Make sure I have it up for the ones that I can see. Please give a shout out, say hello, and all the awesome things. Hi, I am Cheryl Pullins, the host of the Multi Passionate Edge. And this is where we empower, inspire, and educate multi passionate women on how to maximize and leverage their personal brand to do what? To create wealth and build a legacy. All right, so we've been doing this series, right? This series seems like it's been going on for like a long time. But we finally come to part 4, which is the last part of the series. And this part, so we've been talking about unlocking the icon, your inner icon, unlocking your inner icon through brand messaging. And we've shared some tips, some things, some strategies over the last 3 parts, and this is part 4, which is our last part. Again, share this out with your people. Let me know you're watching live or if you're watching the replay. We are broadcasting on 3 different places. We are on my personal profile, we are on YouTube, and we are on LinkedIn. All right, so let's get into it. Let's get into it. So, we're going to be talking about amplifying your brand message. How do you unlock your inner icon by amplifying your brand message? And let's see. Simone says, "Hey, Simone." She says, "I just happened to be on LinkedIn and saw the notification. Why didn't I know about this? You missed 3 part. Woosah. Can I see the other part somewhere?" Absolutely, you can, Simone. And Simone, guess what? If you are on my email list, you should be getting the replays to the links. So we'll connect, and I'll make sure you get it. Thank you so much for that. All right, so let's jump into this content. I don't like to be before you long. And so we're going to talk about how you amplify your brand message, how you're going to unlock your inner icon by amplifying your brand message. So, in one of my, whew, child, I'm sweating like crazy. I am sweating. I ain't going to say why. I ain't going to tell you why. You can guess though, because I just had my birthday. But anyway, so in one of my courses, my brand new courses, I've been on this course creation binge, and I've been creating courses because I love writing curriculum, and creating courses, but I'm creating courses that are not going to sit on my computer and collect dust. I've already built the store, we already got it moving and shaking, so it's about to go down. And in one of those courses, it's about accelerating your wealth by branding yourself. Accelerating your wealth by branding yourself. And in that course, I have something called the Brand Yourself to Wealth Blueprint. Now, if you've heard me talk about branding yourself, I've given you oodles and oodles of examples of how people have branded themselves to create wealth and build legacy. Now, I'm not going to go through a whole bunch of them, but my go to people: Oprah, Martha Stewart, Rihanna. There's a list of people that have done that. And when I realized that that was a thing and I really could teach people how to do it, that's the train I've been riding on ever since. And that's what my message is about. It's about knowing how to accelerate your wealth by branding yourself. And this Brand Yourself to Wealth blueprint is 4 parts. And the first three parts are foundation, creation, and implementation. And what we're talking about today comes out of the fourth part, which is activation. Now, you might be thinking, Cheryl, how are implementation and activation the same? They are not. They are not. Implementation is actually when you have the pieces, the strategic pieces, and you have a plan to implement them. But what are you implementing? And that's where your activation comes in. And activation, the way I talk about activation, it really is how you go about amplifying your message. It's about how you go about building brand awareness. How do you go about showing up in the marketplace and establishing your authority and your credibility? And you do this by activating your personal brand. And you're like, okay, I hear you, but how do you do that? Let me show you how. Because I'm going to show you how most people think about activating their brand, right? They want to launch a website. Okay, that's cute. They want to get on social media and create all this content and have all these pretty things floating around. That's nice. But how are you going to create an impact on the people you've been called to serve? Like, how are you going to really get in there and create an impact on people's lives? How are you going to help move people from information to transformation? And part of that is by activating your brand. And I have three ways that I love to talk about when it comes to activating your brand. Now, actually, they're four. They're four. I thought there were three, but they're four. So, and this is really where the rubber meets the road. And this is how I show my clients how to maximize their personal brand, to go beyond the logo, the website, social media, the social media things that we do that aren't strategic. Okay. So, and the beauty of this is this activation can happen online and offline. Online and offline. So the four ways that you can amplify your message by activating your brand is speaking, publishing a book, podcasting, and collaboration. Okay, I'm going to give those four to you again. Speaking, publishing a book, podcasting, and collaboration. These are fantastic ways to amplify your message. These are fantastic ways to get your message out into the world. These are amazing ways to help create transformation in the lives of the people you've been called to serve. Okay, so the first one is speaking. That speaking is my number one. It is my number one. It creates tremendous visibility for you. It gets you in the room in front of it. It creates that one to many opportunity, especially if you're in the right room in front of the right audience in terms of your ability to get clients, fill a program, whatever your goals might be, whatever the reason is you're standing in that room in the first place, right? So speaking is like my number one. It has always been my number one because it's highly, highly effective. Now, here, I'm going to say this, and if you followed me for any length of time, you've heard me say this, and I don't get off of this. I don't move from this thought. Stop waiting for people to invite you to their stage and create your own. Stop waiting for people to invite you to their stage. Create your own. Now, there are multiple ways you can create your own stage. It could be an in-person event or it could be a virtual event. Create your own stage. Create your own speaking opportunities. Right? How can you do that? You could do it by doing this. What does it cost you right? To come on and go live, to share 3 points, to give a call to action, to start to grow your community and your following, to help people go from information to transformation, right? This is a speaking opportunity that I created for myself. I show up here every week. We come have some fun. I share some content, right? And my prayer, my hope for you is that you and your life and your business are better for it. So you have the power to create your own speaking opportunities. You don't have to wait for people to invite you to their stage. Now, the fact of the matter is when people see you actively, right? Doing what you've been called to do, sharing that content, going live, right? Putting up video, whatever. When people actively see you doing that, they're going to invite you anyway. They're going to invite you anyway, especially if you have a message that they're like, yeah, I need her. I need what she has. My community needs what she's talking about. They're going to invite you. So, my challenge to you is show up. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to be glammed out. I just choose to be that way because that's just me, right? That's just me. Thank you. Thank you, Coach Janice. She says, and we are absolutely are better for it, Coach. Thank you, Coach Janice. Love you. Appreciate you. Hey, Latanya Graham. So show up. Find ways to show up and speak so you can amplify your message. Okay. Also, another thing about speaking is remember, I said you don't have to wait for people to invite you to their stage. You can seek out opportunities and and submit or do whatever the requirement is to get on someone else's stage, right? For the let me see, for the first 2 years when I started speaking over a decade ago, when I started doing making speaking as a part of my business and as a way to get in front of people to get my message out, I looked for opportunities. I did research, I looked for opportunities, I sent emails, I made connections, and I that doing that got me into rooms that I had never even thought of. Never even thought of. All right? So that's something you can do if you want to speak. You have to be active. You have to be an active participant in your own dreams. You have to be, write this down, share this out. You have to be an active participant in your own dreams. You have to be an active participant in your own dreams. If you have dreams of becoming a speaker, then you have to have it. You have to be an active participant in making that dream happen. Okay? Because here's the thing. Listen, I get it. I know it's not about getting what am I trying to say? It's not about letting God do what he's going to do because he's going to do what he's going to do. Sometimes he needs you in position. Sometimes he needs you in position so that now you're top of mind, right? So God's like, remember that woman that you saw at that event and you were talking to her? Why don't you invite her to come be on your panel, to come speak at your event? See what I mean? Okay. All right. I'm gonna get off of that because speaking really is my number one. And I see so many people wanting to be speaker. I work with a lot of women who want to be speakers, but they're not speaking. I've been saying this for years. If you're a speaker, you need to be speaking because speakers speak. Create your own platform, create your own opportunities. And another way to do that is podcasting. You can do it through podcasting. You can create your own podcast. You can create your own podcast. That's a form of speaking. That's people having the ability to take you everywhere they go. If they're going to the gym, they're going to have their phone. And if you've created content that they want to consume, they're going to turn it on while they're doing whatever, while they're cooking, while they're driving, Nowadays, I listen to a lot of podcasts when I'm in the car driving. And I have my favorite go-to people that I listen to when I'm driving in my car. That's the beauty of podcasting. People can take you wherever they go, wherever they go. And it's a form of speaking. So podcasting is very powerful, and I'm not going to belabor that because I have some other points I want to make about podcasting. So I just want to hit these other two ways you can amplify your message, because technically podcasting was not second, but it was just a good segue. The third way is publish a book. Publish a book. Great way to amplify your message. Yes, I know. I hear you. But Cheryl, it costs this and that and blah, blah, blah. Well, first of all, we need to deal with your money mindset. That's a whole nother issue, right? But second of all, there are alternate ways for you to publish a book. Nowadays, you can do an ebook. People promote ebooks as just as if they're promoting a book that was published through the regular publishing channels. Ebooks are a great way to get your message out. They're simple to write because they don't have to be really long and drawn out. You can make your key points, and then you can ask them to take whatever the next step is. So you can publish an ebook. You can do an anthology project. Oh, that's a great way to become a published author. Yes, there's an investment, but it's never going to be as much as what it would cost you to publish your own book by yourself in terms of resources, time and money. Time and money, right? So you can do an anthology project. If you see this book behind me, wait, over here. If you see this book, whoop, that one right there, right over my shoulder right here. Unlock the icon within, right? Okay, Coach Janice, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Much love. Unlock the icon within. That is an anthology project. I was the visionary for this project. We had 18 authors participate, some of whom were first time authors. And I told them, you treat this book as if you wrote the whole thing yourself, because it's a great way to get the message out, to start the conversation, to establish your authority, to establish some credibility. It's a great way to do that, even though you wrote a chapter. You made your investment, you wrote a chapter. And with this project, we did trainings. I did trainings. The publisher did trainings. We've kind of, not kind of, I used it as a launching pad to really build community. As these authors they're my seed, they're my nucleus for building community. These are the women that are the catalyst for building community for me. And I recognize that as such. So not only are you publishing a book when you do an anthology, not only are you becoming a published author, but now you're also, depending on what project you're involved in, you could potentially be in community with other like-minded women that participated in the project. And so now this takes us to the fourth way that you can amplify your message, and that is through collaboration. Collaborate. I am very good at bringing women into the room. I'm very good at bringing women into the room. Now, when I bring in women into the room, it's not for me. I want them to make connections. I want them to do partnerships and collaborations. I want them to work together to amplify one another's message, to help one another build their platforms, establish their authority and credibility. That's what I want to see happen. And you know why? I'm going to tell you why. Because when I started out, people that started with me that went on to grow and to create these massive platforms didn't invite me along. No hard feeling. It just is what it is. But that showed me that that's not something I wanted. I want to build platforms and create opportunities to say to other women, I want you to come join in here. Because when you come here, now this is your launching pad. This is your launching pad. So it's an opportunity for collaboration, partnerships come together. Okay. So those are the four ways. Those are the four ways that you can amplify your message. What did we say they were? What did we say they were? Put them in the comments. What was the first way? What did I say? My number one way of amplifying your message. What is it? What is it? Speaking in person, virtual, creating your own speaking opportunities. And the second way I said was podcasting, right? Again, establishing a podcast so that people can take you with them. They can always have you in their ears, right? Because that's how you're going to stay what? Top of mind. Third way, publishing a book. Fourth way, collaboration. Now, I want to give you a few more points and we'll be up and out on podcasting. So I was supposed to do this 3-day podcasting challenge this week, and I decided I didn't want to. I listen, y'all. I turned 62 weeks ago. I decided I didn't want to. I'm like, no, I don't want to do it that way. I want to do it a different way. And the different way is I turned it into an actual course. I turned it into an actual course, and that's what I'm. That's what I'm. Hey, Keandra Ward. Hello, hello, hello. Much love to you. Excuse me. So I decided I'm going to turn it into an actual course. I am going to teach the course live, but rather than me do it as a challenge, I'm going to actually teach people how to establish their podcast, how to monetize the podcast. I'm also going to teach something about private podcasting, which some people are not familiar with because it really is becoming a thing. So let me give you a few little tips about podcasting. And if you want to know more about the Podcast Powerhouse Academy, then you can go to iconicwomanclub.com. I don't even have my banner up. How about I put my little banner up, my little ticker thingy? No, I can't even do that because I didn't even create the right one. We're good. I'm telling y'all, I was tripping. I was tripping today. But anyway, so let me give you these 3 points about podcasting. All right, so I'm going to give you these 3 points I want to make about podcasting and why podcasting is so, I think, effective as you are cultivating and building your personal brand. One, because it builds authority and credibility. Remember, I mentioned that earlier, that having your podcast builds credibility, authority. It helps to make you top of mind. You know, people can take you with them when they go. They'll have you in their ears. Also, you can use podcasting to build community. It could be at the top of your traffic source, right? So it could be at the top of your funnel. It could be a real traffic source for you. And here are a couple reasons why. Typically, people that are coming back listening to your podcast over and over again, they're actually like pre-qualifying themselves as a potential client. Does that make sense? Because they're coming back over and over and over and over and over. So they're pre-qualifying themselves as a potential client or a potential part of your community, right? So there's that. And I was doing some research and I saw, and please forgive me because I don't remember where I saw it. Otherwise, I would source it. I'm going to find it again so I can source it. That the average podcast listener makes $250,000 a year. $250,000 a year, the average podcast listener. So not only are these potential clients, not only are these people that potentially want to be a part of your community, These are people that can actually pay. Don't look at me like that. These are people that can pay. They probably, because they possibly have more discretionary income that allows them to make higher level investments in themselves and their personal development or whatever it is that you're offering. So instead of them, coming into a kind of lower price point offering, these are your people that could potentially come into your higher price 5-figure containers, 6-figure containers. You should have a 6-figure program, but we're not going to talk about that today. Okay. So, moving on. And the last point I want to make about podcasting is it's a way to make money. I've showed you different ways that you can do it, really by positioning and by being top of mind. So you can invite people to learn more about whatever it is you're offering, whatever your first line product could be, right? So maybe your first line product is something that is under $100, or maybe your first line product is something that's over $100. That is totally up to you. But maybe you're using your podcast to invite people to do one of your courses, right? Of course, you want to have a strategy behind that. So I was sharing this with someone the other day, and I was talking about one of my coaches I had a couple years ago. And I'm very good at deconstructing other people's stuff. I just am. It's just how my brain works, because I need to understand the methodology. The methodology makes it make sense for me. So once I sat and I looked and I went, okay, so they had this, and then it went to this, and it went to this, and this, and this. So I basically deconstructed kind of like how the customer journey, the flow went. And I realized that the very first thing that she offered people was to come listen to her podcast. That was the thing. Everyone was coming to her podcast. When the pandemic hit, she did a 5-day challenge. She had never done one before. She had never done one before. So she's telling all of these podcast listeners that she had developed over the years, because I had been following her for quite some time and listening to her podcast. She invites them to come do the 5-day challenge. I think she may have ran a little bit in terms of ads, but she had this established podcast. She made an offer for the challenge. The offer was a 10-week course for $2,500. We're watching this flow. Podcast, 5-day challenge, offer. Offer, 10-week course, $2,500. That I could see from our community and our group we were in, there were 300 people registered for the program. You do the math. The top of her funnel was a podcast. She offered eventually this 10-week course. There were at least 300 people enrolled in the course, because everybody enrolled probably didn't come into the group. You do the math. So when I tell you the potential of what you can possibly do by having a podcast and earning income, okay, so it might not be a $2,500 situation, but it could be $1,000 situation. Get 300 people. What you got? One of the things we have to learn how to do, even though it's not about money, we have to be intentional about money. We know we're not doing it for the money. We're doing it because we want to impact people and change lives. But we have to be intentional about the money, because we know that there are things that we want to do. There are dreams you have. Remember, I said you have to be an active participant in your own dreams. And part of being an active participant in your own dreams is to learn how to generate income. In particular, if you want to live the fulfilling life that you truly desire. All right. So that's what I had for you today. I hope it, I mean, I could go on with this for a minute, So if you want to know more about podcast profits, no, that's what it used to be called. Actually, it was formerly called Podcast Profits Academy. It's now called Podcast Powerhouse Academy. Um, go to iconicwomanclub.com. Thank you, Tanya, for putting that in the comments. Go to iconicwomanclub.com and you will get the information on my latest offer because it'll be going out very, very soon. I already have a couple people that are ready to jump in. All right, so I like to go back and go through the comments and see what's happening here. Hey, Keandra Ward, so much. Thank you so much for joining and watching. Love you, appreciate you. Keandra said, love that. I'd be curious to know. I know Keandra well enough to know that she's probably saying love that when I told everyone I'm 60 and I just didn't want to do it when I talked about the challenge. I bet you that's what it is. And then podcasts build authority and credibility. You can use it as a traffic source to build community. Absolutely. For more information on the Academy, you can go to iconicwomanclub.com. Let's see. Simone says, Cheryl, you mentioned a number of podcasts that you listen to in the car. Can you share some of those shows? Absolutely, I can. So I'll make it even wait, where's my phone? I'll make it even easier because I might not remember them off the top of my head, but for sure, Divine Living, the Divine Living podcast with Gina DeVee is definitely one. Um, do, 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 do. Tranquility du jour. Tranquility du jour with Kimberly Wilson is another one. Be Wealthy and Smart with Linda Jones, and the Billionaire Rolodex with Eugenita Prevost. Those are like my top. Oh, I have one more that I'm going to give you. That these are just my favorites, and it is the School of Self Image with Tanya Lee. Those are like my go-to top favorites. Podcast that I enjoy listening to and that I get a lot from. So Tanya says thank you, and Keandra says love you too. Love you much. Thank you so much for joining me for our weekly live, the Multi-Passionate Edge. I am so excited about all the different things that are happening. But I want you to make sure that you go to iconicwomanclub.com to make sure that you can get the information for Podcast Powerhouse Academy. As soon as I have my dates, it'll be sometime in July, and it's not going to be long and drawn out. Don't worry, it's not going to be 10 weeks long. It's only going to be 4 sessions, okay? And we're going to get in there. We're going to knock it out, and you're going to launch that podcast so that you can amplify your message. I'll see you next time.